Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Simon. We are the Whales of Wall Street. I'm just going to have a quick look at the token TKY, which stands for the key on exchanges, and see why on earth it's been increasing by over 100% in the last few days. So without further ado, let's go straight to the browser and take a look at that. So the key is basically utilizing blockchain to help improve and put an infrastructure in place about identity, digital identity, potentially in the form of biometrics as well in terms of fingerprints. And one of the key kind of case studies, if you like, recently, I'll go on to the painting in a minute, but one of the key ones at the moment is looking into things like insurance, where perhaps terminally ill or ill people, there's a lot of fraudulent activity out there, or perhaps circumstances where wills are in place but the people or the family still don't get the money because of this, that and the other, or some legalities in text or writings not quite finished or accurate enough, and then us people losing their life savings and things like that. So this kind of technology is built in there to encourage that use of like smart contracts and things like that on the blockchain, where, as we know, very reliable. You can't kind of manipulate the data, and it's just very much a safe structure to hold data. So this means that if someone sadly passes away, the biometric data and things like this are already put into the system. There's just no way of manipulation or fraudulent activity. So it's quite an interesting project because I heard about it a while ago. And I'll admit, to be honest, I was involved in that kind of like hype up of YouTube videos. This was in the early days of trading, and not really understanding what that concept was. But the more I've looked into the project, I find it really interesting. Now, there's a lot of people on Twitter and things like that, suggesting that it's a pump and dump. And I'm gonna go straight to that point actually. With this kind of activity that we've seen in the last sort of few days, if I just zoom in here, you can see like some substantial growth, not quite near yet the levels that we had back in April, where I think we got as high as sort of the 0.03, 0.004, sorry. So we've got a bit of a long way to go on that. I haven't found any news relating to TKY that has suggested why this has gone up. So it's literally, I believe, like a pump session. I have taken advantage in some trade elements in the last day or two. Personally, nothing's financial advice, obviously, that we say or do, but that's what I've done personally. I do have reservation, like just from some of the people saying on Twitter about activities that they've been involved in the last couple of years. Not being who they are. I'm a bit skeptical on that because a lot of the people who work for them are on LinkedIn. You can check them out. They're quite active. I would say though, with their social media, they don't really do many updates. Last one was on March, just to let everyone know about the removal of this pairing, Neo, which is basically the blockchain that they've been using to help improve that, etc., and try and utilize as the platform to build this project. So just be wary. Is what I would say. This one for me, I haven't got a gigantic bag of it. It was literally just because it was so cheap, I could get loads and loads of them. And I thought, you know what? If one day this goes to the dollar, fantastic. If it doesn't, it's no drama. There's no risk involved. And as I said, not financial advice, but always had that principle: invest in what you can afford to lose. And yeah, it wasn't a gigantic amount for me personally. But I took a punt on it because sometimes with these projects, like in the normal stock market, you do kind of think, well, actually, I get the principle of this. Whether it works out or not is another thing. So that's what I would say, is just be cautious that there's not a lot going on at that moment. But that doesn't mean to say that they're non-existent or not doing anything. It actually probably means that they're looking into like the patent side, which they are. We've seen a couple of articles from them on their website in the last few months, or back in February, particularly this one, about patenting some of this technology. They are involved already as well in a number of projects. They've mentioned here 75 copyrights have been obtained, 32 patents of invention, and as well as being accepted on the SIPO. So this really quite interesting because if they weren't looking to do something, why on earth would they waste their time with all of this? You could argue, oh, they're just trying to make money or whatever, or try and pump and dump, etc. But I generally believe that this is a good solution. It's being trialled in a couple of cities and apparently doing quite well. And here, for example, interconnected to real name health data of over 306 million people in China. So it's a developing thing. You're not going to get instant results out of this sort of project. Blockchain, and especially with the identity side, if you are involved in things like biometrics, is not an easy task. And there's a lot of legislation to go through. I know that in the AI and IoT world, 100% in terms of security, encryption, data. There's a multitude of legislation and standardizations to adhere to. So I'm not fussed about some of the Twitter activity of people saying that it's only a pump and dump and this, that, and the other. My personal opinion is it's got a massive opportunity ahead of it. But there are other companies out there, which we will touch up on in a couple of other videos moving forward. But I think for me personally, again, not financial advice, it's something that I have an interest in that privacy data element. So yeah, for me, I'm not too fussed about it. But yeah, obviously last few days have been quite interesting in terms of the progression. Those that do trade out there, obviously it's an opportunity to make some gains or sell off, etc. If you have been holding it, perhaps not wanting to hold it at all anymore, and you've got an opportunity to make your money back from previous months. So again, not financial advice, but there are opportunities there for everyone. But yeah, I just want to bring that to your attention to bring a bit more clarity in terms of that. There's huge volumes here. I think on this particular day, which was yesterday, yeah, over 1.5 million, tokens or whatever were transacted. So, it's definitely something of great interest yesterday, especially. We are seeing the tail off, so do expect some kind of movements in the downtrends. But to put the fib retracement up on here, support levels on pump and dumps aren't too particularly interesting to look at, but it does give you an interest in terms of traders will of course be looking at this sort of thing. We may look to try and break that next kind of barrier. I'll just remove the auto scale off here so we can just see the sort of next levels potentially. Again, we're not looking at gigantic figures. It looks bigger than it is, but yeah, I mean, there's something going on here, obviously. But just of course, with these kind of sessions of pumping and dumping, do expect the downfall of it. Don't get wrecked. Don't FOMO in. And let's see where it goes. Who knows? There might be something in the background that's happened with TKY that no one knows about yet, and it could actually be in the stimulus of something that's happened with patents or anything. So just wanted to clear that up. And again, please do not do what I did and start looking at hype videos and things like this. Do your own research. Whether you believe in the project or not is the most important thing. And the understanding of what they do and what they're trying to achieve, and make your own assumptions of whether you think this is a scam coin or a scam project. It's not going anywhere. That's all I would say. That's my learnings that I've had or we've had in many months ago when first delving into crypto, to just be cautious of that. And I'm sure at some point in the runs you'll start seeing TKY videos like we did 6 months ago, promoting it, and then all of a sudden disappears. That's just be careful. So hope you found this relatively interesting. If there's any other currency coins, token assets that you want us to look at, please do let us know in the the comments below. But other than that, to those that do invest in TKY, I hope to see you guys and that on the moon. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.